listening to the voice 17104.com.
Welcome, my brothers and sisters, to the Richard James Show on 17104, The Voice.
Greetings and salutations, my friend. Welcome again to the Richard James Show. We have on today's agenda his ministry. You know, we're facing a crisis in the Black community, a crisis with our young men. What is happening to our young men? Their pants are dropping and their IQs is dropping along with it. We want to talk about it. We want to talk about it. And we have a gentleman here who I'm thoroughly familiar with, who's my cousin, Derrick James, who is the founder, operator, curator of his ministries. Welcome, Derrick. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you, cuz.
We have we have some things that we want to talk about, but first, and we've done some things in the past, but it's been a couple of years since we've communicated. So I want to first start out uh, and talk about a little bit of Derrick's history, so you know exactly who you're talking about, because he's a prominent man in the Harrisburg area with the good that he's done. I had the pleasure of working with him on as a mentor on a project that he had with the Community Action Program a few years ago, and it was a wonderful experience. But Derrick, let's first, before we get into your program, let's get into you and your journey. Tell us a little bit about your life's journey in terms of your where you grew up, your education, the whole thing, and how did we get to the point where we developed his ministry?
Oh, okay. Well, I was born in Thomasville, Georgia.
Yes, sir, weren't we?
Yes. So at the age of 4, my mom decided to leave Georgia and to move up north to Trenton, New Jersey.
Yes.
She went up there first, and shortly after, me, my brother, and sister came along with her. And that's where I was pretty much raised at until the age of about 22, was in Trenton, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Going through the whole system of, drug selling, going to, jail, juvenile stuff, and a whole lot of mischief and misdirection. I decided to change my life.
Yes, sir.
I just decided, my friends was dying and most of them was going to jail, and just wasn't no future for me there. And I thank God for giving me that enlightenment, because I still don't know how I was able to make that decision in the mind frame that I was in. So I left Jersey, went to a rehab, got myself together, lived in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania for about 5 years. After that rehab, I didn't go back to Jersey. I took the advice of the counselors in the rehab that said that it'd probably be best that I did not go back to Jersey.
Right.
Took the advice, still don't know why. It had to be God again. And I ended up living in Wilkes-Barre, and one of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my life, I ended up meeting my wife in Wilkes-Barre.
All right. All right.
So that's how I ended up here in Harrisburg, because she lived in Harrisburg, and I didn't want to let her go. So I moved to Harrisburg.
Yes, sir.
I got here to Harrisburg. I worked a couple jobs here and there, but I always had a calling on my life. A calling. I had compassion for people. I had just sympathy for people who was hurting. My eyes just somehow began to open, and the things that I was seeing, I just didn't want to sit around and not do anything. I just believed that I could do something to help our young men and young girls at the time, youth, to make better decisions, coming from where I came from as a young man who made bad decisions. So I got a job at Tri-County Community Action. I worked there for 17 years.
Wow.
I did 10 years. I did as uh, I ran the Across Ages mentoring program, what you heard Richard was talking about. Then I ran the fatherhood program after that for 7 years at Tri-County Community Action that led me up to uh, realizing that our fathers are one of the most important uh, things that we have in our community that we don't have. So I began to just sit down and write curriculum through my experience of what I was experiencing with these dads and what they're going through, and how as important it is to be a father to your kids in our community. And so, a long story short, I end up saying, I believe that it's time for me to start my own, which was his ministry, helping individuals succeed. I got blessed. I got a couple grants. I got couple jobs as a consultant to allow my curriculum to be used. And since it's been used, it's really been helping men in Harrisburg, not only Harrisburg, but York and Lancaster as well. So that's how I got here uh, from there.
uh, I've read some of your material, and first of all, you have wonderful writing skills. I mean, this is a very professional piece, a promotional piece, talking about your program. And the one thing that was impressed me is the deliverable services. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we also have a situation, and I'm going to be very, very direct, uh, Derek. We have a situation where some people who are supposed to be working and helping our young people are are abusing them. Uh,
Mm.
we do have incidents of pedophilia in the community. We see that even the Boy Scouts was subject to $1 million suits because of the of abuse of our young men who are going in and supposed to be getting training in how to endure the outdoors and how to be men and wind up being abused
Mm-hmm.
by men. Uh, we have some of that going on. We also have a situation where we have law enforcement whose objective is to maintain the peace and justice and equality within the community, wind up, shall we say, profiling these young men instead of leading them in the path of righteousness. I mean, we want to put together a program. It's a time now where it's needed more than it's been needed before. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
young men being shot down in the street. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. And are you encountering some of these things in your ministry uh, to men? Some of these
Mm.
issues that we're raising here.
Oh yeah, you know, definitely. Sad to say that it's not it's not unusual, or it has not been said as often as is being said now, because we do have the internet, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have phones, we have cameras, and people are able to send out news about whatever they're going through or whatever hurt that their family is experiencing. But yes, young men being molested is no longer a small thing. It definitely is a big thing.
Yes,
Now you as a parent, you have to watch who you bring in your house. If you got little kids, and that's not if you only got daughters. You got to
right.
watch people around that is in your house, even with your sons. So yes, that's going on, and then we have our violence in our community. We have law enforcement, those who are rogue, who are racist, prejudiced, always say take the job to be able to inflict pain on others when they took an oath to protect. So we have all that. All that is going on, and but when we look at all this stuff that is going on, one thing that we could say, if you know the word, that God said that this would be going on,
Okay.
that this would be going on in the last days. And I'm not saying the last days, I don't know when the last day is, but I know he said that sons will be against fathers, mothers against daughters. We will be living in an age where it will be much crime, much hate, much because men have become lovers of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, what can we do when we're heading in this direction? I mean,
Yeah.
what can we do?
Uh, yeah. Uh, we've seen uh, situations where individuals in authority, and uh, not only just in the police force, we look at our educational system. Um, Now, this is just my opinion, quite honestly. Uh, I do not believe in discrimination against anyone for any reason, whether it be race, whether it be their sexuality, or what it is. But I see a society that's promoting homosexuality and saying that it's a normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I see young men who have problems, who have issues, uh, who become confused about who and what they really are.
Mm.
Uh, and that's just one phase. Uh, I spent a lifetime. I ran the state's affirmative action equal opportunity program for almost for 7, 8 years.
Mm.
One of the aspects that we dealt with was what we call sex discrimination, but by no means did we say that it was a normal situation. People lost themselves in terms of who and what they are. Uh, I think we have to protect all people. But
Mm.
when I look at the Bible, and in his ministry, when I look at the elders in the area of psychology and psychoanalysis, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think that, uh, and we looked at what I call the family, uh,
Mm.
wholesome family, where we want positive, good relationships, but we want people to feel secure about who and what they are, and know who and what they are, and not be confused about
Mm-hmm.
that. I see here that you're doing some of the things that you've listed, some of the specific things, which was just fantastic. uh, Learning how to save money. I mean, some of the things are very, very specific. Avoiding unhealthy relationships. I see that on
Mm-hmm.
your on your list of things that uh, to do. But somehow we've got to educate these institutions. It seems to me that are supposed to be providing some of these services.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Tell me, in terms of his ministries, um, how do you interact with the educational system? How do you interact with the prisons
Mm-hmm.
when people are housed? How do you interact with the police? How do you interact and be able to provide them with some of the service that we need uh, to direct toward our young men who are
Mm-hmm.
in trouble today?
Well, I definitely say for me, I am purpose driven. Uh, a lot of the stuff you said is true. We have people in positions, power, for whatever reasons, they don't see the way we see things.
Mhm.
It's a fact that some of them don't care about our community, don't care about our children, don't care about whether we live or die, period.
Right.
Um, but my focus and purpose go beyond what they feel,
Yeah.
what
Okay.
they think. See, I have a purpose, and my purpose is to strive to help any individual
Yes.
and what color he is, to be the greatest that he can be in this
Amen.
life. So we're going to face all these things and all the institution, the education, the, uh, the politics and all and everything. All that stuff is out there. I try to stay focused. I try to literally, I worked in the prisons. I worked in the educational system. I go
Yes.
into each one of them the same way. I'm going to do my best to help somebody.
Yes, sir.
I have had situations where people didn't want me to come or whatever. I just kept doing what I'm doing, and because my goal is to help somebody. So I don't even focus on their negative behavior, which can affect other people very, you in prison and you being treated bad, that hurts, or we got our schools and we ain't got enough books, or the kids are out of control and we don't have enough teachers to control them. So when I look at it at the end of the day, there's something that's happening to us.
Yes.
There's something happening to us, and I'm speaking just for us now. I'm speaking, and what is happening to us is being done by us.
I hear you. I hear
It
you.
was being done by us. Now, there's a whole lot of things that's going on out here that contributes or add to what we do to ourselves. And one of the biggest reasons that we find that our children are so lost and out there, and not all of them, there's some good kids, but when we talk about the urban community, young boys and young girls are being neglected and not given the chance to succeed in life. And somebody might not like it, but they just gonna have to not like it because their parents are not doing what they supposed to do for their children. Now, I particularly would say on my behalf is fathers are not in their position. So
Yes.
you take a father out of a home who doesn't come back, who doesn't spend time with his son, who doesn't call his son, who doesn't teach his son, who doesn't try to uh, leave him with some kind of morals and values and teaching him how to make it through problems and how to present himself, how to carry himself, how to respect people. He's not getting that from his father. So when you get something like that, then you got to look at how does he feel about not having a father.
Yes.
Now, forget all that he didn't get. Now let's talk about what he feels about his worth, his value. Now you're talking about somebody that's hurt. So it's not strange. It's not something that we want to accept, but it's not strange that our kids are out there killing each other
Yeah.
because our fathers are not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fathers are not in their rightful place. Fathers are not spending time with their sons. 85 to 90% of juveniles or young men who end up in prison or commit a violent crime have no positive role model in their life. So what we talking about? We talking about hurt.
Yeah.
And we know what? Hurt people hurt people.
That makes sense.
Hurt people.
Yes, sir.
And then, you will have those individuals who take advantage of that situation. And
Hmm.
you got all these different entities who, like you said, programming, and some of them do good jobs, some of them don't. Some of them are
Yeah.
in it for the money. But at the end of the day, whose responsibility is it to raise our children? Whose responsibility is it to teach our young men how to talk about their feelings, how to not be so susceptible to negativity? Whose responsibility is it? It's not the white man, it's not the green man, it's not the blue man, it's the black man's responsibility. And I know, this is some real stuff because
Yes,
listen,
that's true.
listen,
We're on the same page, brother.
black men have failed their community.
Yes, sir.
And the only way we're going to get it back is for Black men to stand up back in their community.
Yeah.
And the only way they can do that is if they turn to God.
Yes.
Because we are on a downhill slope. And that's why I say when I go and talk to men coming home from prison, men in work release, my focus is to help him to see the truth. And the truth is not in the things that are on the outside of him. The truth is what lies within him.
Amen.
And so the truth has to be determined of that man realizing who he really is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying is really, really true. You might remember back in the 90s, Minister Louis Farrakhan called for a 1 million man march, and we got close to 2 million men,
Mm-hmm.
Black men, that showed up from all over the country. Uh, that could have been starting something new and something different and something very, very positive. Uh, I think our faith has a lot to do with it, but setting some standards. Uh, I would have liked to have seen. I was just interested. I never thought that could happen. By the way, I was one of the naysayers, and I said, "No, it ain't gonna happen. You're not gonna get no 2 million Black men nowhere doing
Wow.
nothing positive." That's what I said. And
Wow.
my son Omari
Mm-hmm.
uh, said, "Dad, you got to come." And they pressured me. And
Mm.
then my godson, Mark Hawthorne, who's currently the executive president of the Boys and Girls Club, said, "Hey, you got to come." So and he took. I went with Mark. We went down and we saw all
Yeah.
these Black. I mean, thousands and thousands. It was over or close to 2 million men, and it tells me that in spite of the problems that we have, and we I feel we're in a crisis stage, that there is some hope, and with programs like his ministry,
Mm.
and I see you have taken your experience and training and your faith
Mm-hmm.
and put together a program. Um, and so you right now you say you're in several different cities in terms of do
Yep.
do do you do are you do you have other folks working with you that you train, or do you basically
Mm-hmm.
do it yourself?
Yeah, I run a couple of Zoom meetings for York and Lancaster. I do them on Zoom and
Yeah.
consulting with individuals on the phone. But I also run a fatherhood here in Harrisburg downtown at 15 South 4th Street, and I also run a group called Developmental Training for Men Against Gun Violence at the Work Release Center right now. So my purpose and goal is one thing I know and understands is that, as men, one thing we don't do well, especially if we haven't had anybody to teach us, is talk about what we feel. I mean,
Yes.
honestly,
Yes.
honestly talk
That's a
about,
fact.
how we really feel. If you meet a man, the first thing he's going to do is not talk because the Bible tells them those that don't open up their mouths look to be wise. And you
That's
can
right.
always tell where a man is as soon as he opened up his mouth. But we got an issue with men, our men, not being able to express their feelings. We all, as men, I mean, even successful men, had times in our life where we didn't think that we could do certain things, or we didn't believe in ourselves, or we didn't know how to express ourselves to let somebody know that we had fear of what? Fear of failing, fear of not being the man we're supposed to be, or fear from leaving something that we know is not good for us. It's very easy. And so many men that I meet, that I deal with, know that they could be better, know and want to be better, but
Mm-hmm.
they are afraid to leave the hood. They are afraid to leave the mentality. They are afraid to do the right things in their life because they feel like they're going to lose something. And what I'm telling them, what you are afraid of losing, you need to lose. You
Yeah.
know, you need to lose bad friends. You need to lose bad habits. You need to lose bad self-esteem and all that stuff and acting like we one thing when we know that we really are another. So you got to, what I do is try to make it real to men that, we've been taught wrong, as we grew up and we looked at drug dealers. We looked at back, in the 60s, early 70s, pimps. We looked at hustlers, thugs, gangsters, or whoever molded you or had influence in your life. We looking at them as some kind of role model, and we don't see the end. Men are not going to see the end, which is the end ain't going to be good for you.
Right.
Now, I always bring up to the guys about the movie Scarface, because literally that's why everybody wanted to sell drugs. They wanted to be like Scarface. They wanted to come from nothing, become this big drug dealer that ran Miami. But my thing is, did you see the end of the movie?
Okay.
You get where he got shot all up in his own house. It was so, we just got to help our men. First of all, we got to spend time with our men. We got to spend time with brothers who have made mistakes. That's the first thing. We got to be able to walk with them. And like you said, I do have other men that have completed my program and they still with me and they walk with me to walk with other men. So they're like mentors to these other men that they can call not only mentors, but they're their friend. The Bible said, woe to a man that falls that have no one to pick him up. So if you're going to be friends with certain brothers who trying to get their life together, one thing for certain, you got to be ready to pick him up because he's going to fall.
That's right.
He's going to fall. But you there because the Bible also says that a friend is born for adversity. So it's at that hard time in an individual's life that if a real friend, you have a real friend, he'll be there to help you get back up. And so
Yes.
that's all I try to be as a friend to a brother. Uh, I don't feel nothing special about who I am. I needed something in my life, and I had men who poured into my life when I was ready to listen. Those men was, Joe Collette, even yourself, Richard. And I allowed men to speak the truth into my life. If men don't allow another man to help him to be what he want to be, chances are he never will.
Yeah.
So,
That is so true. And when you talk about men not able to express their feelings,
hmm,
uh, and they uh, keep it inside of them, the pain, the uh, uh, the injustice that they feel, and there's also a lot of be straight up, a lot of abuse going in the home. They
yeah.
think they think it's all right to just to beat a child like you beat a horse
Mm,
or a dog, uh, because the parent themselves have not got
right.
their lives together. But they could communicate with people on all levels, with our young people and with and you say and our men. So quite often they're not even there to do that. I mean, they're quick to run from responsibility.
Right.
Uh, if we can capture those men, and it seemed to me the kind of program that you have, and I would assume that faith is a very important part of it. Uh,
Mhm.
and I didn't hear you advocate uh, any particular uh, kind of approach to religion. We also get into a situation where uh, if you're not Baptist, you're going to hell. If you're not holiness, you're going to hell. Uh,
Uh-huh.
uh, 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 Instead of trying to get people to understand and embrace the Creator and the Holy Word, and also begin to be able to vent some
hmm
some of these things. but but you are a minister also,
Mm-hmm.
and so um, you've come a mighty long way, as they would say, a mighty long way, and
I
you
don't know. Yes, sir.
can continue to grow, and to share that growth, which I think is very positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Where do you think your program is headed in the future in terms of what you're doing? Will it be an expansion? Will you continue to have these seminars? Because I'm looking at this, I'm looking at his ministry, and God knows that we need it. We need it everywhere. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I like to see something like this on a national basis.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well,
is to see some of these people, for example, like that are in the Biden administration, to pick up this kind of thing, this kind of program, because Harrisburg is just a dot on the map. It's an important dot,
mm-hmm.
but when we look at reading things at Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, crime has quadrupled in the last 3 or 4 years, and it's not just Philadelphia. And
Mm-hmm.
then I read my children. Some of them grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, and I read where Wilmington has one of the highest murder rates in the entire country, in spite of its size. Uh, any remote possibilities that maybe the Biden administration can work with someone like you that have developed this concept? It's unique,
Mm-hmm.
and it shouldn't be unique, but it is. But and it's pertinent, and it's something that we all need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
I, yeah, but I like this. I like to see maybe some of these folks. We're fortunate to now have a vice president who's an African American female who's a very uh, sensitive individual. Uh, but politics does play a part. Somebody who could get
yeah,
something like this out. Yes,
yeah, and it plays a big part.
yes, yes,
Believe it or not, we, like you saying, we wish that the government will see, but they don't want to see.
yeah,
I
hmm
mean, to be truthful, even to the lower level of the state,
yeah,
to the federal, you got people in positions, man, that just ain't gonna see what we want them to see. And big business go with big business, and that's just the reality. But I believe that what I'm doing here is being done throughout the country in different ways. There's so many different positive programs that are
okay,
in our community. But my main goal and what I'm going in the future is pretty much, unless God changed my mind, is the same way I'm going. I just believe that if men could learn how to talk, that's what my main goal is. Talking is the key to life. What we're doing right now, communicating, talking, gives us the opportunity to share our thoughts, our mind, our issues, our perspective on how we see life. And it's so important that if I get around the right brothers and my perspective is offset, then he can help me get back on track. The how did we get to the situation we're in our communities is because brothers, like young brothers, were listening to the wrong people.
yeah.
You walk up and you tell somebody, hey, I want to go look for a job. And they say, man, you ain't got to look for no job here. Here go a package, sell that. You'll make more money doing this than you will on a job. So it all depends on who you're going to be around, be based on what kind of man you will become. My slogan is men are not born, they're made.
I love it.
Men are not born, they're
Uh,
made. And you got to determine who made you.
uh,
So, crime, I'm heading in the same direction. I have guys that I've worked with who are doing great, who still work with me. We try to help the next brother that comes along. We share our experience, our strength, our hope, our failures, our faults, our weaknesses. We're just real. And when a brother can get around another brother that's real, then they don't have a problem with being real. I'm a minister, like you said, but when I meet a brother, my first thing ain't to be hitting him over the head with the Bible. I want him to
Okay.
see me. I want him to see me. He don't even have to know I don't even tell him I'm a minister or I'm a pastor. In
Okay.
fact, I tell a lot of the guys, don't call me pastor. Because the minute you say pastor or minister, that brother is going to shield who he really is. He's not going to show himself. And you can't help a man that's hiding. So when they get to know that I am a pastor, they don't expect or say, well, I expected you to act like that because you were a pastor. No, I've been already have proven my devoted commitment and loyalty to that person by just the way I act and the way I treat them. And then I present Christ to them. You want what I got? Then now let me tell you how I got it. You want how I help with you, how I helped you better your life? Let me tell you about who helped me. So, it's gone on the days, gone on. I hate to say it, this young millenniums, this generation and they ain't with just, you walking up and telling them about Jesus. They want to see Jesus in you first.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That is so real. That is
Yeah.
very, 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 very real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, that makes a whole lot of sense. And it sounds like you understand who you are and you're
Yeah.
able to share and communicate with that. And your ego doesn't get in the way. You're not throwing out titles. Yeah, I'm the pastor.
Nope.
I'm this. I'm better than you.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
hear.
it.
I don't hear that. I don't hear that in your approach.
No.
Yeah, I've learned. I've been where you are. I've learned. I've learned from my experiences. Here's the direction we need to go in. That's what I hear you saying,
Right.
and I think that's so
Yeah.
saying.
And you
And
got to be willing to walk with a brother. See, the issue is we got too many professional black men, too many saved black men, too many men who've been recovering from drug and alcohol in the streets, but ain't willing to give back, ain't willing to spend time with another brother, ain't willing to go out and get another brother. We got nephews and cousins and little brothers and even older brothers and uncles that are out in the streets suffering. And we have decided, and I've seen it, I can't do nothing for him. He's got to learn on his own. And so we close our minds to even trying to help somebody who can't help themselves. And in a certain way, what I'm saying is a lot of brothers forgot where they come from. And see, when you forget where you come from, you ain't trying to go back there. But
yeah,
when you know where you come from and you know what's there, you're willing to go back to help somebody else come out of it. Come out of it. And the fact of the matter is, and I don't usually speak like this because I usually try to just hold my peace, but just to say it, the sake of saying it, we got too many brothers sitting up in church doing nothing.
I hear you.
Too many, and they've been saved from drug, alcohol, all kind of stuff, jail, and all that. And all they staying is right in that little building.
I hear you. I hear.
And until we who've been blessed by God, who's been given a second chance by God, who have now has a good life because of God's grace and mercy, until we willing to sacrifice something, some of our time, some of our resources. And yes, we need to sacrifice some money sometimes to help another brother. If I go out and see a brother and he hungry, yeah, we're gonna go eat. We're gonna go to the restaurant. We're gonna sit down. I'm gonna buy your lunch.
Yeah.
But we gone from those days, cuz we gone. Men don't want to spend time with men. Only men they want to spend time with is the men they know.
Yeah.
And
I hear
new
you.
men, they don't want to spend time with a stranger. They ain't got time. And so this is the result. This is our community. This is why our community, to me, looks like this, is because the ones that should be helping is in the house sitting down watching TV.
I hear you. I hear you.
You
I
know?
am I am so happy that we're doing the show because you're rattling my cage. Uh, you, I spent a lifetime early in my career working directly with young men and young women. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the concentration has got to be uh, uh, specialized in terms of what the needs are for both. Um, in my particular history, uh, never really went to jail except for mass demonstrations. But
Mm-hmm.
I was in the street and I was scared to death. I grew up in Chester. Chester is one of the toughest towns
Mm-hmm.
in the country. But I had a gentleman by the name of Joe Carter, who was a professional boxer,
Mm.
who took me under his wing. So when I listened to what you're talking about, and he was unselfish. He didn't charge me anything, but he trained me,
Right.
and through athletics, was able to strengthen myself, and also spent time in working with young people. We set up a tutorial project, uh, but
Mm-hmm.
there's always more that you can do because it's not about me and who I am. Uh, but I remember Governor Casey you say, "What did you do when you had a chance to do it? What did you accomplish? What did you share when you had a chance to share?" And you're doing that,
Mm-hmm.
and you're reaching out and you're educating folks. And I hear you say you're training folks, and then some of the people that you've have worked with are being supportive of what you're doing, Derek. And I'm really happy to hear that. And I'm hoping that somehow if we can be supportive of what you're doing, please let us know.
Yeah.
Uh, Father Time is I'm 80 years old now, but I'm still alive and
Yeah.
kicking, and I want to be continue to be supportive of the kind of program that you have. Uh,
Amen. Amen.
yes, sir.
I know you are. Hey, I was in a pizza place up here, I think probably about a month ago, and I
Yeah.
ran into Zate. Well, Zate ran into
Oh,
me.
oh my goodness.
Yeah. Now Zate, this is going to emphasize what we're talking about.
Okay.
Zate came in and I ain't seen him in probably 3 years. That for those who don't know, Zate and the Quadre was two young boys that Richard mentored uh, when I was running the Cross Ages mentoring program.
Yes,
And
sir.
they were about 13 and 14 years old.
That's
And
right.
Richard spent time with them. He would, call them and go get them and take them places, taught them how to play the drums and all that type of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
These boys are now 25, 26 years old.
Wow.
When he came into there, at first he didn't see me in so long. He just, hugged me. And so when he hugged me, I knew that I made a difference in his life.
Yes, sir.
See that he ain't got to say nothing else. He hugged me, and I knew that I made a difference. But I already knew it. But he said this, which is contribute to you, because one man don't run no show, and no man is an island. We got to do
Yes,
this
sir.
thing together. So he said, "Man, if I wasn't in your program, Mr. Derrick, I don't know where I would be right now."
Oh my goodness. Yes.
And that was because you volunteered your time. You had a house, you had a wife, you had kids, you had a job, you had your own business, but you still took time out to spend with a couple young boys, which was, I think it was that time, was it 2 hours a week or something like that, 2 hours every other
Yes.
week? But
Yes,
you
sir.
spent more time with them as you got to know them.
Yeah.
And that's to my point, that if we as Black men in our community that already been blessed, that already have success in life, are willing to give a couple hours a week to a young man to walk with him, and they didn't always do everything right. They
Right.
acted up sometimes too. We had to jump in their
That's
chest,
right.
but we was there and we showed them that they were important, that they was valued, and that they were worth our time. so that they could make the right decision and go on in life and live their life without going to jail or ending up in the grave.
I'm
My
telling
thing,
you, I truly appreciate the opportunity you gave me to work with those young men.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
and in fact, I need to talk with. I want to be able to get. I've lost touch with them. A lot of things have happened over the years, and I like to get back in touch and see how they're doing. But that you gave me that experience. You know, you gave me the opportunity to do that, and they're two fine young men, and I'm glad to see that they're doing well. Uh,
mm,
but I would love to communicate with them. That was that program was and we used to get us together, and we would as a group, and we would interact and I mean with the counselors and all, and then and we would talk about it, and we would exchange the experience. That was a wonderful program. Uh,
yep,
but I see that you moved on. You know,
yeah,
you developed your program, and your ideas have become expanded. You
right.
know, and I like to see it continue to expand because it's just magnificent. When I just read this material, and I think about the experience that we had directly, I think is a real great thing. We got some new leadership in City Hall these days. Uh, we got a new mayor and some things that we're talking about, and I'm hoping. I don't know. Have do you interact with them at all? City folks?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Tell
Yeah,
you the truth, I see them, I speak, I ain't got nothing against them,
yeah, I understand.
and I don't expect nothing from them.
I understand.
Nothing against them at all. I'm
I
just
understand.
I'm doing what I believe that it's in my power to do. And if the Lord leads me to, go to them and say, hey, could you fund this or fund that? I'll do that. But I don't expect too much from too many people
And
these days. Because,
I understand what you're saying.
I don't personally know none of them, so I can't say nothing about them, but I don't know. And
I,
I keep the mindset of if they wasn't in office, what would I be doing?
yeah. Well, I've personally worked with our new mayor,
Okay,
and she's a good woman.
good.
I'll say
Now
that.
I'll take your
And
word. If you say it, I
yeah,
believe
she's a good woman.
it.
At one period of time, I was the debate coach for the high school debate team. Myself
Mhm.
and Eric Jackson, who was a minister also, and they were very positive. They need to get on board with this and just be supportive
Right.
of you and what you're doing. That's what we elected them from, and
Yeah.
that's I mean yeah. See, part of my background has been in the political arena and dealing with very positive people.
Mhm.
But with or without them, I think that you continue to move forward in a positive kind of way. Do you still
Mhm.
have? Do you still communicate with community action? Are they still doing some of the same things they did when you were there?
No,
Uh,
no, I don't. I don't. I go in to see a couple people I used to work with, but not
yeah,
really. I don't. I haven't tried to collaborate with them or
you do your own
whatever.
thing.
Yeah, I do my thing. I learned a lot at community action. Matter of fact, it gave me the skills I needed to
Mhm.
step out and to do my own. So I do work with some people. I work with the program. I work with the program. It's about change. They are here and in York. I also have worked with Hamilton Health, ran some group with them as well. Like I
Oh
said,
yeah.
Camp Hill Prison, work release. I worked with Representative Patty Kim on some issues of helping in the community. I support pretty much many churches. And that's another thing that I've started. I've created a ministry called MEM, and that's Men Equipping Men. And we have quarterly breakfasts where we have men. The last breakfast, I believe we had about 200 men show up for the breakfast. But the goal is not just for saved men. The goal is to bring an unsaved man.
I
Uh,
hear you.
we need to reach the unsaved. The saved been talked to already. If they ain't got it, they ain't gonna get it. But let's go to the brothers that don't know the Lord. Let's go to the brothers that we got to learn to love. Let's go to the brothers that
Yes.
don't look like us, don't talk like us, don't have what we have. Those are why I created, and it's about 8 of us. It's 8 pastors. We work together uh, with our my vision of bringing men together, and they are supportive. They are down to earth pastors. They ain't looking for no title, no recommendation. We fold chairs, put up tables, sweep, mop, do
Do
whatever
what
we
has to
need
be
to
done.
do. And so it's been really growing. And so I definitely will give you the heads up on the next one, which will be coming up in August. And so I just
Please,
love
please
men.
do. Please do. I'm still dealing with some handicap issues in terms of ability to walk. But
Mm-hmm.
but you just let me know. I'll make some kind of arrangement. I
Yeah.
would like to go to one of these affairs.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
what you
we'll make it happen. Whatever you need to be done, because I'm telling you, I'll do it. And no matter if I gotta come and get you and put you in a chair and roll you on myself. We gonna make it happen, man. I'm
Yeah, but
serious.
I wanna get together with you like you used to do, and maybe have a breakfast to just continue the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've learned a lot from you, and
Oh,
I'm learning from you, sitting here talking and listening. I'm learning a whole lot, and I really appreciate you, and the things that you're doing and the commitment that you have. I mean, somebody cares, somebody loves somebody. I mean,
please, please.
yeah, it's just it's a wonderful thing. Uh, I'm still running my little business down in Lebanon, in terms of
Okay.
selling African art and that kind of thing. I do that 3 days a week. Uh,
Wow.
this this broadcast and working with brother Mr. Chris Thomas
Mm-hmm.
gives me an opportunity to do this, to
Yep.
put this out, and we've added YouTube as a part of it,
Wow.
so people will not only
Mm-hmm.
just listen on radio, they'll see it on television, and to
That's
carry
right.
that message forth. And the thing I love about this broadcast is that it's on the internet, so it's international.
Mm-hmm.
My son-in-law, who's from Senegal, West Africa, um, uh, when he was home for a couple of months, he got stuck over there doing that virus thing, wasn't able to get a flight out, and he would listen to our show and see it in Senegal.
Wow. That's
And
amazing.
I got cousins in Ohio that on a regular basis will listen to the show. So, what Chris has created here gives us a vehicle, and he has not just my show, but he has several other shows that
Mm-hmm.
project a positive message. Brother Gaskin and some of the other, some of the others. But we want to, but I want to do this again too. You know,
Amen. Yeah.
periodically, I like to get with you and maintain our communication, because what you're doing is absolutely vital. I can't think of anything more important than
Yeah.
doing something. If we keep putting it out there, that has to have some effect.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. I just want to say to whoever's out there, you know, listen, men, we are the answer. We
Yes,
are the answer. Men are the answer to their community healing, to their children healing, to establishing great legacies. We're the answer, and a man needs to be in his rightful place, and he has to be around the right men in order to get there. So anybody can reach out to me. I'm just going to say it's his ministry, Derrick James. Uh, you can hit me on my cell phone, 717-991-9916, 717-991-9916. And just call me up, and if you need help or you know somebody need help, just hit my cell phone and we'll go from there.
and what manhood is all about.
Yeah.
Uh, we talk about it, we advocate it, verbally, but functionally, are we really doing it? Uh, we've got to be responsible. Uh, in order for us to have our children feel good about themselves, we have to feel good about ourselves,
That's right.
and we have to respect them and never tell your child that they're nothing and there's nothing
Right.
they can do with their lives. We get folks who are corrupt inside of themselves and who feel like they have not made it, and then they heap that on on their children. And I find that some say this too. Some fathers like to compete with their kids. They got to feel like, hey, that they're superior to their kids.
Well,
And
some
what?
fathers live through their kids.
Thank you. That's another one. Yeah, yeah. They want their kids to do what they weren't able to do.
They
So
couldn't
they
do.
put, yeah,
Right.
they push that.
They push them too hard. They push them to death.
That is absolutely
Yeah.
so true. They
Yeah.
push them to to death. And sometimes in sports, some athletics, and
Yeah.
some education. Uh, at some point, that we got to also teach our kids how to think, how to evaluate,
Right.
how to make decisions.
That's our man's job.
Yeah, how to make decisions. And some of your decisions won't work. You got to know how to respond to the mistakes. And where do you
Yeah.
go from here? Because there's no human being on the planet Earth that hasn't made a mistake or made a wrong move
Right.
uh, at some point. But
Yeah.
let me just say this: that I want to express my total and complete appreciation for you
Oh, thank you.
and for what you're doing. Uh, it's in the genes, brother.
Amen.
Let, let me just say, I got to throw this out to you folks. I'm I'm thinking about this. Your great grandmother. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, we used to call her cousin Honey.
Hmm.
She was a midwife, and the reason I mentioned her is that my father loved that woman, and everybody loved that woman. And when I'm listening to you and talking, she spread the love and the joy, and also some of the positive things that you're doing. And it may sound crazy, but I'm saying it's in the genes.
And the James,
It's
that's
in
the
the,
James genes. That's right. Well, let me just say, man, you've been a role model to me ever since I met you. You supported me. You always, whatever I, needed. If you had it, you were definitely was there, and you has exemplified what love really is. And being a role model and having integrity about yourself. I mean, you know, when I think of you, I think of someone who does what is right, because you didn't even hardly know me. And you could have took the name and just said, oh, whatever, but you wanted to make it right. And you connected with me and you made sure that I learned some of my history of our folks that I didn't know. You sat down and had broke bread with me and pursued me, you
yeah,
know.
that's right. Yeah,
So, I'm grateful for you because I wouldn't be the man that I am today if you wasn't a part of my life as well. So you are a role model to me.
that's quite a compliment. And God knows that I've learned a lot from you, Derek. And let's continue
Amen.
on. And I just want to say we're at the end of our show. Uh, brothers and sisters, friends, this is the Richard James Show, and this is the kind of thing that we like to deliver to you, a positive message. Uh, his ministry is a wonderful thing. What can I say? I'm sure you've learned a lot about it. So continue to be supporting. Derek, you take care. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well,
And so I look
all
forward to
right.
our next show. Thank you, Brother Chris, for your support and your advice.
Amen. Thank you,
And
Chris.
so we're going to say so long, my friends. And until next time, this is Richard James signing off. Take care. Bye
Amen. God
bye.
bless.
God bless.
Thank you again to the Richard James Show. Our African and our African American programs are set up to educate you on what's going on in this world. We thank you for taking out the time to listen. Let us hear from you sometime also.
Morning.
This is your neighbor and your friend signing off. Until I see you again next week and hear from you again next week. So long. God bless.